What's going on, Guitar Grappler here? So today I am with a very, very special guitar. This is a 1998 or 1999 made in Japan Jackson DK2. It's a beautiful dinky, and what makes it so special is, as you can see, this finish. It's called Midnight Blue Sparkle, and it is an extremely rare finish that was offered those 2 years. Look at this, look how beautiful. I have a light shining on it because it's very hard to capture in photos and videos. But I wanted to make sure whenever I made the video that we were gonna get that finish and really get, so you can see how vibrant it is. It's weird because if you look at it without good lighting in the distance, it almost looks like just a black guitar. But when you get up on it, you see how like beautiful this blue sparkle is. Man, I am obsessed. So I found this guitar online. Before I even go into that, this model was like the Dinkies had this finish available, Kelly's had this finish available, and Roswell Rhodes. I think regular Rhodes did as well. But I can only find one other Dinky online that has been posted that has this finish, and that is sold. And I could find a few Roswell Rhodes, of all things, right? It's kind of weird, but with this finish. And there are some videos where you can see it online. But I'm led to believe that the production of this is very, very, very low. Because whenever I bought it, the guy posted it, and it's a guy I bought guitars from before, actually. We have very similar tastes. And he thought it was like a 2000s model that he thought it was a production finish, but had no proof of that, you know? So I was kind of skeptical. I was like, man, this looks like it could be a custom finish. I've never seen a Jackson like this at the time. So, I bought it anyways because I thought it was awesome. Went home, and then I just started researching. Like, I researched for hours. I looked at old catalogs, and like every single year from like 96 or whatever to the 2000s. I just went through the catalogs and tried to find it. And I had to do it a couple times because I missed it. And I'll post a picture at some point in time showing where this guitar is, because they didn't have a picture of this actual finish. You have to like read the fine print to see that it was available in 98 and 99. But it confirmed that for me. And then what really confirmed is I found an old listing of the other one that I seen in a Dinky, and I messaged the guy, and the guy was nice enough to message me back and let me know and confirm what I thought, that this is from 98 and 99. So, you know, even though that guy and me thought it was 2000s, it is 98, 99. Because, you know, the serial number on the back, which we'll get to, is a 97 number. And if you're familiar with Jacksons, you know that, like, the serial numbers are impossible to decode. Just because it says 97 doesn't mean it's from 1997. This is an example right here. But a lot of people have 2000s made in Japan guitars that they think are 90s just because of the serial number. And that's just not the case, unfortunately. So I was very happy to know that this one is, in fact, from the 90s. You know, it makes it even cooler to me. So let's go over some of the specs, because this has changed a lot over the years. Whenever I got it, they had these EMGs put into place, because it comes with Duncan Design pickups, and they're passive actually. So they changed it to active and put EMGs. So I'm gonna keep those. I prefer passive, but these EMGs sound freaking awesome. I was very impressed by them. So that was just a nice little upgrade that I didn't even have to pay for. I did upgrade the trim to a Goto Japanese trim. These are excellent, excellent tremolo systems. In fact, I would say that the bar itself is better than a Floyd Rose, because Floyd Rose, you can screw it in or you can push it in, but I feel like there's a lot of play with the Floyd Rose. Like, it moves a little too much for me unless you tighten the shit out of it. Whereas with these Goto ones, you screw it in. You see this little piece right here? You just put a little tiny Allen key in there, and you twist it and tighten it in, and this thing goes wherever you want it to go. And I love that. You know, if I want it right here for solos, it's perfect. And if I just knock it out the way, it's out the way, and I don't have to deal with it for rhythm and stuff. So I think it's even better than Floyd when it comes to that. However, I will say this: for some reason, the cavity on these Jackson DK2s are small, and I had to keep the same posts that were already on the guitar, which luckily they're not worn, because the Goto ones are very, very thick. So it didn't fit, and I didn't want to drill because there's not much room in there for me to fit a bigger post. So, you know, that's kind of a bummer. So if you do get one of these guitars, you want to put a Goto, that's one reason why maybe you might not want to, if your posts are worn down a lot. Also, look, you can see if I pull down or pull up on the bar, it will hit the body. I barely pull up. Whenever I do, it's just like gradual, like lightly. So it's not that big of a deal to me. I'm not one that, I don't play like dime bag, you know, pulling up on the bar a lot. But if you do, it's probably not gonna work for you. And it's kind of weird because the cavity on the side is just so like wide. They had like a Jackson branded Tremolo, and they're like, you know, they're proprietary. So these Tremolos fit to this body much better, unfortunately for me now. But like I said, this is not a big deal. But also, if I pull down all the way, because the block is so big on these Godos, it actually hits the back of the plate, the back plate, because it like barely fits in there. Once again, for me, it's not a big deal because the way I play, but I want to put that word out there to you in case you say, oh yeah, I think I want to put a Godo on my DK2. Might not be a good idea unless, like I said, unless you play like I do. And then it's not that big of a deal. So I really like it. I'm happy with it. Another thing that was upgraded is, I say upgrade because for me it's an upgrade, is this was a volume and this was a tone, and I deleted I moved the volume to where the tone is and deleted the tone. I never use the tone, and the knobs right here just totally get in my way. So I just got rid of it altogether. You can find these little plastic pieces on Amazon, and it kind of fills the hole. It honestly looks totally fine. So I do that on a lot of my guitars. If the vibe knob's in the way, I still want to enjoy these guitars because I just get pissed off whenever my hand keeps hitting the volume knob, and it affects my playing or it turns me down. Either way, I don't want it, you know? So it's just much easier for me to delete it and move the volume back. So that is that. Now let's move on to the fretboard. You can see some wear. You can see some dings right here. There's some dings throughout the body and some light finish scratches that you can see in certain lights. But we have a nice rosewood fretboard. Ebony is preferred, and even I do prefer ebony for my metal guitars. However, every time I get a rosewood fretboard, I really like it. I think it feels really good, and I think it looks good too, you know, so I do not mind a good rosewood fretboard. We have the shark fin inlays, which is like, if I have a Jackson, I want it to have shark fin inlays. Otherwise, I literally don't even want it. And it's kind of weird, when I may make a video on this, a lot of them more like their USA guitars and their, actually, you know what? I think on the USA soloist, they did put shark fin, but a lot of their like Pro Series and stuff, they're not putting the shark fin, they're doing piranha teeth. And that's like such a bummer to me, because like when I think Jackson, I think shark fin inlays. So anyways, I got them on this one, so stoked about that. We have headstock with the regular Jackson logo. The only thing that would make this guitar cooler is a reverse headstock, but you know, still cool nonetheless. So let's flip this thing over. All right, and now we see the back. See that beautiful finish. You know, we have the cavity, and you can see like some little marks and stuff on it. No big deal. And there's like a couple little dings here and there, but this finish really hides dings really well. So, you know, nobody can really even tell if you're on stage playing. So we have the block right here, and you can see the serial number. It's a 97, which doesn't mean anything because it's 98 or 99. I've done the serial number lookups for Jackson, and it's just a nightmare. You can't find your guitar. So my suggestion would be look on Reverb, try and put some descriptions in there on Reverb or just in the search bar, and you may be able to find a guitar like yours. Or do what I did and go through the catalog and just like search and look at the finishes, and hopefully you can find it, you know. This guitar new in 98 was like $850, I think, somewhere around that price. So it's a decent price guitar. I mean, because this is a DK2 and I believe it was a Pro Series. So nice little price for that in the 90s. And honestly, the way it plays and the way it feels, it justifies it. It's an excellent guitar. I love this like heel, this cut that they have, because it gives you access to the upper frets. I cannot stand just a straight up block without that. When it's just a neck going straight to the body with the block, it's so hard for me to play. I've owned a few San Dimas Charvels, and I just got rid of them because like it's like too much work to have to get my hand way up here. You know, I don't have the biggest hands as it is, so it's just kind of a pain in the ass. So this eliminates that. So if you see a guitar with this, it's not as easy as a neck through, but it's not that different. You know, I think it's totally acceptable. So looking at the neck, couple little scratches here. I don't even feel any flaws whenever I play on it. But it's a nice maple neck. And look, this is funny. I say funny, but it wasn't funny when it happened. The guy who owned it before me, I assume a guy, owned it before me, they put screws in and they screwed it all the way through the back. And it made this little tiny crack and these little holes for where the screw came out. Please don't do that if you have a guitar. Like, be careful and be, work slow whenever you do stuff like this. Because, this is an awesome guitar from the 90s. It's like, man, somebody ruined it. It's an $800-something guitar and somebody like potentially almost ruined it. Now, I was able to get these filled, so they're filled. Doesn't compromise the integrity of the guitar. It's totally fine now, but it could have been really bad, so no big deal. And we have Goto tuners, which actually the original owner put on as well. I always go with these Goto locking tuners. It's like my go-to tuner. They work really good. And even though it's a locking guitar, you technically don't need locking tuners, but it just makes stringing things up easy. You pull them through, lock them, and then you're good to go. And these are also Japanese, which matches the tremolo system. So I kind of like that as well, that my tuners match the tremolo. Oh yeah, one more thing is the hardware on these originally are actually like a satin chrome hardware, as opposed to like your more like shiny chrome. Although this kind of has like a little satin look on these saddles. But yeah, so it's a satin, which I thought was pretty interesting, But anyways, this thing is a beast. Plays good, sounds good. If you do come across one, I highly suggest picking it up. This will be my main guitar. Like, I always wanted something that I could play that is just different. You want to stand out on stage and you want to look different, and you want a cool guitar. And this like pretty much checks off all the boxes for me. Not many people will have these. But at the same time, it's still a Jackson, and I didn't have to pay for a custom USA Jackson to make it happen. So super stoked. Please leave comments in the comment section if you have one, if you've seen these guitars, or just let me know what you think about these Japanese DK2s, because I think they're amazing. So I appreciate you watching. Keep on shredding.